All right, welcome everyone to a new Minecraft Snapshot, 14W07A. If you like command blocks, you're in the right place. Got a ton of cool new stuff to show you there, but we'll start off with something a little bit more straightforward. New block edition. It's the iron hatch trapdoor, whatever you prefer to call it. This is the crafting recipe for it. Requires 4 iron ingots. We'll just go ahead and make one in case you've never crafted anything before, just so you can see how it's done, you know. So you get the iron hatch in return. You place it down just like you would a wooden hatch. The only difference is, just as an iron door is to a wooden door, you can only activate the iron hatch with redstone related apparatuses, whereas obviously you can just right click the wooden one. Nothing's happening, have to use a lever. Now on top of that, we've also got a really slight change to torches. You might not even notice it if you weren't looking for it. Basically, the tops of torches now, when they're placed on the side of a wall, are now slanted as opposed to being completely flat. So really minor aesthetic change, just thought I'd point it out as well. All right, so let's move on to the cool command block stuff. So right here, we have a door. Well, it's sort of obscured by the command block, but try to ignore that for the time being. If I want to walk through it, I can't do it. There are no buttons, there are no keys. How do I get through this door? Well, what if I turn around and go backwards? How did that happen? Okay, so, and then if I turn back around, it closes again. So the way this works is now command blocks can actually test for a rotation. So here I have a test for command, and in the brackets here, it's the RYM specifies a minimum rotation, and the RY specifies maximum rotation. So if I go into F3 here, you'll notice that in the facing line, where it says facing north towards -Z, it's the 4th line down in the second chunk of text. It says 160, 10, and if I start spinning around, that value changes. If I spin around and pass the in between the 30 and the -30 values, which is about here to here, then the door will actually open for me, because I've specified in here that that if that is accurate, if when it tests for my rotation and I'm in between those values, the comparator will output a redstone signal and the door will open. So I can just turn around, boom, door opens. Probably easier if I go on the other side here. So I can look at it, door opens, look a little off to the side, it closes again. Pretty cool. Pretty cool stuff. So, you know, just another way you may have to think about adventure maps. If a door is not opening, maybe try turning around and walking through it backwards. Pretty nifty. All right, so let's move on to another thing that's really cool. Kind of has to do with command blocks, kind of doesn't. It applies to them at the very least. So I have a chest right here, and my chest has various items in it. I can even throw my iron trap door in there. And normally if I middle mouse click this and place it down on the ground next to it, it's just gonna give me a chest, and I'll place down an empty chest. But now, in the new snapshot here, what I can do is I can hit Control, and then I middle mouse on this chest, and what happens here is if I place it down, it has all the items in it that I had previously, so it keeps all the NBT data in, if I hover over this, it says chest plus NBT in the text there at the bottom, which is, this is a really cool, convenient feature to have for copying and pasting items that have their own data, or blocks that have their own data. And the same goes for command blocks. So I have a command in here, and if I want to hit Control, middle mouse, all of a sudden, if I place this command block down, it has the same command inside it. Pretty darn nifty. So this is what I used in order to actually fill up this dispenser with some various command blocks here. Now, all the command blocks in here have a variation of this teleportation command. It's ranging from TP ~5 nothing to ~5 nothing. And then there's negative variations as well, just all 6 possible variations of the positive and negative in each slot. So now if you trigger a dispenser that has command blocks in them, it'll dispense one of the command blocks and run the command. Now initially I was like, why would this be of any use whatsoever? Because, well, if I dispense it and runs the command, why don't I just run the command and skip the step of putting it in the dispenser? But the cool thing about this is when I realized that you can use it to basically randomize something. So I have the 6 command blocks in here. Let me just destroy this stuff to, well, that's a bit more distracting. I'll just toss this stuff in here for now. So if I dispense this command block, or dispense this dispenser, excuse me, it's going to randomly select one of the command blocks, and it's going to teleport me in a random direction. So let's do this. Boom, that teleported me up in the air. Let's just destroy that one. and then once again, now it teleported me to the left. If I hit it again, now it teleported me forwards. And I don't have to delete the command block every time. I can just hit it again. And now it teleported me oh, actually, my bad. I think I do have to delete the command block. But here we go. Press it again, and now I've teleported backwards. And let's see, do we have any left? We have 2 more left. Press it again. Teleported in here, which I don't mean for you to see quite yet. It's a surprise. And then teleport once more, and I'm inside things. That was probably a poor decision because now I'm underground. Anyway, so if you wanted to create an adventure map where you can basically randomly send someone to a certain level in varying progression, like you can play the map once, it sends you to a certain amount of levels in a certain configuration. Play it again, it sends you to different levels in a different configuration. So that sort of randomization is pretty cool, and you couldn't do that as far as I know before this was rolled out, or if you could, it would be a super roundabout way to do it. All right, so next up I have probably the most secure combination lock you could possibly ever make. It's pretty cool. So in this chest here I have a piece of red wool, and let me just toss the grass block out. What I'm gonna do is try to open the door. I know the quote-unquote combination. It's actually just a figure of a block. So this is the combination here. And now the door opens. If I place the block down anywhere else, doors are going to close. So the way this is working is it's taking advantage of a new feature where essentially we are testing for blocks to match up between 2 different areas. So over in here, I have the reference combination. And what this is doing is it's testing the blocks in this area, this 3x3x1 area, and it's seeing if this other 3x3x1 area is matching that setup. So the syntax is very similar to a clone command. In fact, it's almost identical there, except instead of cloning, you're just seeing if the areas match. So again, if I delete any blocks here, it's not going to work. So if you wanted to create an ultra secure combination lock, you could essentially, well, it has to match the block type and it has to match the configuration. So it'd be extremely difficult to guess. You'd have to go through all the different types of blocks and then all the different types of combinations in order to actually unlock this. So kind of cool. And then again, once it matches and they're accurate, it outputs a true signal into the comparator and the door opens. You could conceal all this, but I left it exposed just so you could see the mechanism. So yep, cool stuff. Anyway, all right, next up, another really cool feature. So much cool stuff this week. I have a villager in here, and I forget which button I need to hit. One of them will change him into a witch. One of them will change the witch back into the villager. I think this one is... Nope. This one, boom. Changes him into a witch, and I have it say, dang it, in the chat. Dang it, I'm turned into a witch. But if I press over here, I am saved, and he turns back into a villager. So even if he's walking around, so let's push you elsewhere. Come on, just for a proof of concept here. I can keep toggling these, and it's always going to spawn. Okay, if you could not go outside the fence, that would be nice, though. All right, just stay inside the confines of your little place here. That'd be great. Well, he doesn't want to, but whatever. So I keep hitting these buttons, and no matter where he is, it's actually going to toggle between witch and villagers. So the way this works is with the new execute command. So the syntax here is /execute. Then I choose what entity I want to do the execution on. I don't literally mean like we're killing them. It's just a coincidence that's happening here. But I'm going to choose to summon a witch on the villager here. So it's saying execute on the villager at their relative coordinates, summon a witch at the same relative coordinates. And then I also have a command block here that, well, it says dang it in the chat, and then it also teleports the old villager to -100, so it drops them off the map, basically, rather than killing them, because then you'd see their corpse fall off to the side, and I figured it'd be better if it just looks like it's replacing them and essentially making them transform. Same is true here, except I just reversed the villager and witch in the syntax, so I keep forgetting which is which. Which is which? Keep switching them back and forth. Cool stuff. All right, so that is the new execute command. You can use it to transform entities and other entities, spawn blocks on entities, do anything relative to the location of an entity. Anyway, next up, we'll move on to the final demo I've got set up here, which is I'm going to give myself a lever that's called the key. I'm going to put it in the first slot of my inventory, and when I hold it in my hand, the door opens. It's like a remote control magical lever key. Move it there. The door closes if I move it to another slot in my inventory. This is sort of a drawback at the moment, but I would just have to set up a bunch of new command blocks in order to make this work. It doesn't work. It only works if I hold it in my first inventory slot. The reason being that this right here is testing for me to be holding an item called the key in the first slot in my inventory. That's where it says slot 0B. So it's testing for an item called the key in slot 0B, provided that I am also holding the selected item in slot 0. I don't know why it has to have the B there, but whatever it does, that's part of how the command works. Now, if I wanted it to be that regardless of what slot I have it in my inventory, I want it to work, I'd basically have to set up 8 more command blocks to cover each different slot in my inventory, and then no matter where I was holding it, the door would open. So cool nonetheless, but I think it gets the point across with just having it work in slot 1. So that's all I have set up here. There's on top of everything I went over, there's a new bunch of stuff with the scoreboard scorekeeping system, but a lot of the syntax I couldn't actually get to function right, and some of it was a bit over my head. But it mostly has to do with multiplayer things and team game modes and whatnot. The only application of it that would really work for single player is objectives, and once you get over a certain score in completing an objective, like a door will open or something like that. But even so, much of the syntax, if it becomes something that's crucial to different features later on in the future, I'll go over it, but it was a whole bunch of command lines that I couldn't get to function properly. But, you know, anyway, it is what it is. On top of that, another cool new feature to point out is that you can now bundle resource packs in with a map, so you don't actually have to load them up separately. You can just run a map, like an adventure map, and it'll have the resource pack bundled in, which is pretty cool. So anyway, that's about it for highlighting this snapshot. Hopefully you've enjoyed. If you have, a rating would be much appreciated. Other than that, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.